What's your favorite summertime hobby? It could be being on the lake, going out, taking trips, little road trips. Everyone's got a favorite summertime hobby. But if you like cardio and being entertained and going on little trips around town, I think longboarding's for you. When it comes to longboarding, especially if you like little small adventures, longboarding is really captivating for a lot of people. Longboarding is so great. There's so many ways to get around, and there's so much variety in it. So now let's get into a little bit of history when it comes to longboarding. Longboarding originated in Hawaii around the 1950s. Surfers wanted to get the best of both worlds, so they could have like a big board and they could surf on land. So they put plywood planks together and put wheels on it, and this was the first longboard. It started gaining popularity around 1970s or to the 1970s. From the 1950s to the 1970s in America, it was really popular with Californians, and from there it started to grow. And when they introduced polyurethane wheels, it just it skyrocketed in popularity because these wheels were allowing the longboard to like stick and hug the ground more while people were riding on it. So you had more control over the board, and you could also go faster and control while you're going faster. And it wouldn't just be like it was just barely out of control in one direction. You could control it a lot better. From that point on, a lot of longboarding came with versatility and styles, and the styles that they introduced were different types of boards. So there's boards like cruising boards, and then there's boards like speed boards, and then there's boards for just like looking good, like the aesthetic. From going to cruising and carving boards, these boards were more for mild users, people that would just use it to get around town, people that would just like go on little adventures. Those were the cruising and carving boards. There's boards that are used for slalom longboarding, which is like skating through obstacles and other obstacles. And then there's the most dangerous type of longboarding, speedboarding. This would be going downhill at an excessive amount of speed. It certainly gets the heart rate going. And this type of longboarding was very, very dangerous. You basically just get on the board and try and go as fast as you can and take turns as fast as possible, just living on the wild side. After these types of longboarding styles were created, they started modifying the longboards to the styles. So for cruising and carving, there was just like regular boards, and then for the slalom boarding, they modified the board so the wheels would be in front, kind of like this board right here. The wheels have more room, so when you're tilting, that the board doesn't rub against the wheels, so you can control more where you're going and how fast you're going. And then there's also pin boards. Pin boards, this is what I mean by a cosmetic or the aesthetic type of board. It was just more like a board that was shaped a little thicker in the front and then had a wide base and would come all the way to a point, and they're called pintails, and they were very more for an aesthetic. They weren't really good for any certain type of longboarding, but they really look pretty cool to me. And then there's surf skating boards. Surf skating boards are basically built the same size and shape as skateboards, but they have the longboarding wheels and trucks. So you would glide a lot longer on one of the surf skateboards rather than a skateboard, because the skateboard wheels are a lot smaller and then they don't carry as much weight over as much distance. So from that, we can go back to how longboarding originated in the 1950s in Hawaii, and the popularity grew and spread to the rest of the United States, starting with California, and it went from there all the way around the United States until the 1990s and early 2000s, and this is where they started coming out with different styles of boards. Longboarding is a great pastime. It's great for people that like to adventure. You can go on trails. You can go longboarding on. I wouldn't, but go longboarding on highways and you can just glide. It's very fun. And it's a very good form of exercise.